So, yeah, good morning. It's this fantastic walk. I've just done a quick little video on euthanasia, and here I am walking the animals, and the animals are kind of what I want to do my chat about today, because living with a diagnosis is a diagnosis, and at the moment, apart from feeling tired, which is understandable with other things going on, I'm perfectly healthy. I'm all right. I'm eating, drinking, just being, and I'm totally cool. Now, I'm contemplating having my things in order, and we never know whether we're going to make it to the end of the day, let alone the week or the year, with or without a diagnosis. Life happens. One day I woke up and I couldn't move on one side, and that was a reminder enough. I was 37 and I'm 42 now. Back when I was 30, I nearly lost my leg and couldn't walk and had to learn to walk again. And all I was doing was doing a coast-to-coast walk. Many people do a coast-to-coast walk without any incidents whatsoever. And despite all the preparation that I'd done, it still happens. Things still happen. And we're not always responsible for what happens, what the universe gives us next. We're not. So with that in mind, we have to take responsibility, or we don't have to, but we really ought to take responsibility for ourselves and get our shit in order at the moment, because I'd separated from Simon, and now I'm a single woman who we don't really talk very often, if at all. He can no longer be my next of kin. He was absolutely everything when it came to passwords and things getting put in order and things. So he was aware of my living will. He was aware of what wanted to happen if anything happened to me, and we were a partnership. Now, when he got his next partner, he just didn't really bother with me hardly at all, which is fair enough. And I realised that he's not capable of being there when something important happens and you need a friend to talk to discuss whatever and to take action to put things in order. Because by the time he'd come round to answering a message or something like that, he'd have missed it. I'd be dead. There'd been a funeral and all sorts of things. I'd be sat comatose on a ward, and all the animals would be in batty. Come on, all the animals would be either dead or in shelters. So there's no point having someone as your power of attorney or next of kin if they're not capable of answering messages or communicating. And therefore I've had to revisit all of everything that was in order and try and get everything in order, because it was, but now I've got to do it again. And doing that, it brings about the questions of who's my next of kin, who is responsible, who is capable of making the choices that I'd want and not making a choice from their own ego. And it's heavy stuff. It's heavy stuff to sit with. And just because someone loves you doesn't mean they'd make the same choices that you would, or that they wouldn't act from a different perspective, coming from a place of fear. So I chose a very good friend of mine to take over all what's needed, and we had a talk about this, me and Bev. Her name's Bev Hughes, just so you know, and we had a talk about this the night before last when I was a little bit upset doing it. The sheep are just running in the field, so yeah, it was an interesting talk, and I said, oh, this is where I'm up to now, this is what I've got so far, this is what I'm like trying to put in place, and this is how I'm feeling at the moment. And it was really important to have that conversation. And Bev, with all her knowledge and wisdom that she's acquired through years of working like first person on scene and I used to work alongside her, and her Buddhist practices, allows her to meet me where I'm at and bring a new perspective to things. So looking at that, it led me to sitting with myself and contemplating my animals. And at the moment, you know, I keep having moments of thinking, well, who's going to be suitable for Bear? Like, how on earth would you find the right kind of home for Bear? Because Bear's quite an interesting one. Elsa and Batty are easy enough dogs to, I wouldn't say rehoming's easy in Portugal, but they're such zen animals, and Bear finds his zen eventually, and he has his zen moments, but he's more about fun and craziness, whereas Elsa and Batty just chill and just sit and be with you. And that's, what else could you ask for? Bear's getting there, I think, slowly, but he still doesn't know how to sit properly, and he still doesn't know how to come back. That's Bear, you know, that's just Bear. So, come on else. So, where are we up to? We're just looking at what there is and what there is to manage. And if I got hit by a bus today, nothing really is in place to take care of the animals, all the animals properly. The only thing that's sorted would be Batty with Kate and Jilly. And after that, I don't know. I need to sort out a will, because my will have to be changed, because I'm not in, like, having the Portuguese land and things. I need a will that's now in Portuguese law to ensure that my land goes to the right people. There never has been a volunteer who's capable or wanting to stay. They want a holiday, but they're not someone who's capable of wanting to come and stay and run the place or be here like I am. So I've not been able to find someone to leave the project to. My daughter will get my project, and my daughter is very much a bit of a hermit in the UK, and she has her things, and she's not been out to me. We've talked about it a bit. Maybe she would like having it as a project and can come over and holiday and stuff like that. It's possible. So it's making sure that the land continues to be as was intended for the land, so it'll serve people for the next 7 generations. And yesterday I saw it's that sun thing again. So yesterday I saw a friend's post, and she's sitting with 2 forms of serious illness, and her circumstances mean that she, like me, lives on her own with her animals and kind of does her own thing there. And she'd stated she doesn't really have visitors. She said she has no visitors. It may be through choice, I don't know. But it made me think, wow, like it's when we're feeling well, like I do now. I'm cool and I'm managing, but I certainly every so often need to give someone a shout and get help. The things that happen that I don't know how to do. Okay, I'm very resourceful, but sometimes there are things that I haven't got a clue how to do it, and I need to give someone a shout. I've got an amazing amount of friends who can usually help me do that by talking me through what to do. But when it comes to some certain things like lifting and carrying, especially like after the operation that's penciled in, if you like, I think, how the hell do you walk dogs and manage when you're on your own? You know, how do you sort that out? How do you, you know? And it's certainly something that I'm trying to sit with. Let's see if it works better that way. It does, yeah, sorry. So how do we navigate these times? How do we come to terms with the fact that sometimes we're still human, you know? And through my stroke, I was gifted the grace of realising I'm not human, of having to learn to accept help, to ask for help when I need it. Had to learn better ways of communicating my needs so that I could be heard and get help with things that were important to me, like getting a wash, getting stuff from a shop, learning to cross roads. I had so much help and assistance, and whether I liked it or not, the only way to learn how to function was to accept the carer's help and accept the help of random strangers that I'd never knew before in a women's hostel. Kaya, I'm still so grateful for you doing my nails that time, like a meeting, and being able to go to the shop and looking after me, because in certain situations you genuinely feel so alone and vulnerable. And right now, you know, I have 2 short and Moira, but Moira can't really walk very far, so I take care of her, she takes care of me, especially with the baking or putting my stuff in the washing machine or just having some girl time, and that's great. I love me and Moira's time and listening ears and things like that. It's great, and I've got 2 short for lifting heavy bags and stuff when I'm not supposed to be lifting. I'm so blessed in that way, but they can't take on my animals. They've got plenty to do themselves, and they've got their own farm. They don't need the stress of another one. So yeah, it's really got me thinking of that. What happens to these things? And the thing is, I had this thought, oh, maybe I should just give it all up. But these animals, all 3 dogs, for instance, were rescues. They came because they weren't cared for. They were stuck in their places where they were, because Elsa was abandoned in the back garden. Batty was left on a chain to die. Bear was stuck in a really small enclosure. But he did get like walks and that, but not often. See, it's not easy to walk a bear in a safe space. So, you know, although bear did get cared for, come on, it's not the same as having the lives that they've been able to live here with me. All the 3 guinea pigs are now free range. Like, where else are they going to have that kind of life? Their original owner died and left them and the mother, and they were sent to Moira and Two Shorts, and they didn't really have space for them, but they kind of made a space, and they came to me where they have space and they're doing useful things, because they eat the harder stuff that the birds don't eat, and will take longer to break down, of course, because they eat that and then they poo. We've got fertiliser there pretty much straight away, so the guinea pigs are great for managing that. So I feel like I want to keep them, and the birds, which all have names, and yeah, we have all got a good relationship, so I want to be able to sort something out so that they get the life I give them or better. So I really would, you know, well, I do sit with that, and that is a worry. And time away from home is a worry. I mean, it's still home over there, but you know, you have home and you have home. And my chill place, my sanctuary, my safe space is here. So yeah, it's certainly bringing about the thoughts of how you manage a serious illness with limited resources, maybe financial resources, when you're abroad. I've got a person running now, hold on. Sorry, yeah, a runner came past there. I had to grab Elsa and Bear. 3 giant eagles, higher perspective, and it's important to know that we really need to find a way of tuning into our higher perspective, our wiser guide, and finding ways to, like we'll be talking with John, navigate our uncertainty and come to terms with, make compromises with or over, and find a form of acceptance while still being kind to ourselves, because self-judgment isn't going to get us anywhere. Criticism's not going to get us anywhere. So trying to come to a place in our hearts where we really feel like we've got our shit together and I can let go. It's just in case, you know. And everyone should do the just in case. I did my just in case a few years ago, and I'm doing it again at the moment. So I encourage you to do your just in cases and get things in order so that you can not have to carry that heavy weight of dealing with that at the same time as navigating the situations where you genuinely just don't know, because it's not so easy. So I'm going to go, and may all beings be free from suffering. Big loves.